Hello, and welcome to the second guide of the Creeves Paladins guide series. In our first guide, we covered how to play Cassie, so you guys can go and check that out. But today we are going to be doing a full and comprehensive guide on how to play Ying. Now, loads of you guys crushed on the support on the last video, one of the best first videos I've ever had. I mean, I do own another channel, but this is my, Paladins channel, and either way, guys, thanks so much. Also, a lot of comments from you guys, and I'm totally open to your suggestions. A lot of them have already been incorporated into this guide and all future guides, hopefully. Remember, guys, comment down below if you'd like to see any particular champions. I can definitely get working on them for you. And of course, check out the Steam version of this guide too. Either way, next we're going to be hopping straight into the introduction section. Enjoy the guide. So, what makes Ying special? Who are her main targets for damaging and healing? Now, Ying is personally one of my favourite champions, but how do you use her without your teammates spamming VHS? Well, in this guide, we will be going over how to maximise your Ying efficiency. In a recent update, Ying received a buff allowing her to place illusions at a further range. This has pushed her kind of out of obscurity and made her a much more viable support. With supports, it's important to know that there are two types, main healers and off healers. Now, of course, you guys might know, but the main healers include Genos, Ceres, Ying, and Maudamba. And the off healers cover the rest. Generally, the main healer tag means that they are suitable for sustaining a whole team without a need for a second one. But keep in mind that any support can be more than viable in the right situation and with the correct person behind the wheel. Yes, even Crover, guys. When playing Ying, there's one key thing to keep in mind. Her entire build is focused around her illusions. The next section will be a run through of Ying's abilities, when to use them, and how to maximise their impact. If you want to know anything more about them, I'm sure there'll be some more information in later sections of the guide. But we've got her Illusory Mirror, which is our direct and of course left mouse button attack. Illusory Mirror works as a burst of projectiles. To me, the attack feels kind of more hit scan, but it definitely takes some getting used to. While you were shooting, you will need to adjust your aim to continuously hit your target, kind of like a burst of shots, and when shooting, the weapon has a time between shots of 0.05 seconds. You guys have to keep in mind, however, there is a considerable damage fall off at range. Paired with talents, the mirror can be a half decent weapon. As with most supports, they can do some decent damage. Okay, next up we have Shatter. Now, Shatter will cause all active illusions to chase down enemies and explode for a large radius of 500 damage. The illusions will chase generally for 2.5 seconds before exploding in their place. In case you're wondering, these do have a max distance. They don't go across the map chasing other champions. Next up, we have her illusions. Now, these are by far her prime abilities, and of course, to be an efficient healer, you will need to get a feel for the range your illusions can be placed at, how far away they can heal from, etc. By default, each illusion has 1000 health, illusions last for 8 seconds unless destroyed, and illusions will prioritise allies on the lowest health. No claiming that Ying illusions hate you guys. 2 illusions can be deployed at one time, deploying another will destroy the oldest. Illusions heal for 420 every 1 to 1.2 seconds. Now, there was a bit of a mix-up in the sources I found, so you guys will have to test that yourselves. Next up, we have her F, or her movement ability, Dimensional Link. It is a great ability for escaping a bad situation, or putting you into one in some cases. Dimensional Link activates a 4-second buff, similar to Andro's Never Step, with a little timer at the bottom, that allows you to teleport to the illusions furthest away from you. You can use it as many times as you want in the period, but keep in mind where your illusions are. I still make big mistakes using this ability. Sometimes it can be tempting to spam F as you frantically try to escape from a situation, but end up teleporting to safety, then back into the fray of the battle. A tip to avoid this is to take a mere second to analyse the situation, and move to your next illusion only if appropriate. Next up, we have Ying's ultimate, Illusory Rift. Ying's ultimate is arguably one of her best features. Applies a buff to her allies that heals for 600 health per second for 8 seconds. While the ultimate is active, Ying can teleport to any of the allies with her Dimensional Link, including illusions. This means you can essentially teleport to spawn the other side of the map as one of the allies rides in, giving you a great escape tool and a way to, charge in and have all your allies healed. Now on to the next section, which is Ying's talents. Now firstly, there is lifelike. Illusions can now heal 2 allies at a time, but heal for 20% less. You can see in the numbers that this is a great trade-off. If the team is running 2 front lines or on a smaller map, I would almost definitely recommend this legendary. For me, 9 times out of 10, I will pick this talent. It's way more useful for the team and makes Ying a much more viable pick. However, there are still some other talents to talk about. Now, we next have Resonance. Essentially, if an illusion expires or is killed due to time, then it will trigger a shatter explosion dealing 500 damage. The illusion will not chase the enemy, it will just explode in place. This is a decent talent, but in my view, I'd rather take the Focusing Lens legendary for more damage. It could be a good one on maps that have a very tight point, such as Bright Marsh, or if they're very grouped up in terms of their playstyles. For example, they have like, I don't know, an Inara and a Fernando. You guys will have to judge it yourselves though and see what you prefer for you. Then we move on to Focusing Lens. My number 2 pick after lifelike, I would say. Focusing Lens deals an additional 150 damage to the last pulse in each weapon shot you fire. This means you can deal around 600 damage per shot if you hit each pulse. This is pretty hefty damage for a support, and overall it means that you can actually do a lot of damage to front lines or other, damage champions, so you can help your team take them out. At the same time, at a long distance, it's completely negligible. It will do like an extra 35, extra damage. So if you want to consistently output more damage, then I would definitely, advise this legendary. Finally, we have Life Exchange. I really haven't given this legendary card a go more than, a handful of times, but in essence, this talent turns Shatter into a burst heal. The illusions will still heal at the speed of Focus/Resonance, yet upon activating Shatter, they will heal nearby teammates for 800 health per illusion. The illusions will be consumed, of course. This legendary does give Ying a much larger blast heal potential, giving her that trait she so desperately misses, saving teammates in a dire situation. Although you have to remember this healing will be heavily affected by Cauterize, it's hard to practically use and can take away for healing from other teammates if they go to the lower one. Either way, I would advise giving this one a go, seeing if it can make it work for you, but personally, for more consistent healing, I much prefer Lifelike or one of the other damage talents. Now for loadouts. For Ying, I have a Focusing Lens / Resonance kind of loadout, which includes kind of extra illusion to speed, similar things I would have to Lifelike, but a bit more stuff for kind of getting more illusions out there. Of course, as I mentioned, I have a lifelike loadout, which is basically about keeping those illusions up and making sure, those will be healing as much as possible, as many people as possible. Of course, if you guys would like to import any loadouts, go ahead and search me up on, of course, Paladins. My IGN is just Creeves, so you guys can search that up. I also do have a Life Exchange loadout, so you guys can grab that one too. Next up, we have a new section called Itemization. A lot of you guys suggested this, so thanks for all the kind suggestions, and of course, let's get into it. What should you buy for Ying in a general game? Of course, this will change, and there's a nice graphic on screen for you showing what you should buy. A tick represents something that's situational or something that's generally good but not amazing. A love heart represents something that is really good and one of my favourites. Of course, these can differ for you. And a cross represents something that I really wouldn't advise on Ying. Now, firstly, we have for utility, Morale Boost. It's definitely my favourite. I did used to use Kronos, but Morale Boost is definitely going to be better for me at least. I'd upgrade it to level 2 or 3, depending on how successful the game has been so far. For healing / attack, I'd recommend getting Cauterize if your team hasn't got much, but if you've got a decent amount of Cauterize, I'd definitely go with Kill to Heal. Now, if you guys didn't know, Kill to Heal will actually trigger an elimination, which basically means that if one of your team members gets a kill that you've healed, you will also be healed. It's great for escaping those tight situations. I would definitely try checking it out. Either way, next up, I just get a defense. This is always like kind of the last thing I go for after I've got Kill to Heal, Court, and Morale Boost on Ying. Moving on to the hints and tips section, I've got a couple of really good hints and tips for you. When playing, it's your main focus to place your illusions in good spots. As you play more, you'll get a general knack for it, but there's some general tips and ideas for where to place them. On the cart's always a great spot. It will be carried by the cart, so it continuously heals. It can be hard to place, but don't get yourself killed trying. High ground is always a good place to place illusions, since they will be able to heal people on the flank routes and easily heal those that are also on the point. Over objects you can also place. As you can see in the background, I'm placing one behind this wall on Splitstone Quarry, one of my favourite places to chill as Ying, and of course they will just gently float down from the sky, healing as they go. It's very effective to just place them in the air, as long as, you know, a Drogoz didn't shoot them in the face. I'd recommend using your ultimate when most of your team has taken a considerable amount of damage, or a large team fight is about to take place, like a second point fight or even the first one. I normally judge this by watching the top left of my screen. You should definitely have the team health bars enabled. It's very helpful for playing support or any other class for that matter. I personally don't like to shatter unless your team gets wiped and you're in a safe position and want to do a little bit of damage. I really wouldn't do it. It can get your teammates killed, and as a support, your priority is healing, not doing damage. When you're low, teleport out ASAP. It can really confuse less experienced players. You will sometimes iterate voice lines like "you got me," even when she's still alive and an illusion is killed. She can be a bit of a prankster in that sense. I've actually done it myself, where you believe you've killed the Ying, but in reality they've managed to get away. So watch out for that if you're going up against her. And the final section, of course, is the rank section. Now, in my time of playing ranked, I don't think I've ever seen her banned. She is, however, picked a decent amount. Me and my friend Xemor used to have a technique at lower ranks, about gold, where we would ban 2 supports, normally Genos and Damber, then take Ceres, or if she was banned, Ying. This strategy worked very well for us, forcing the enemy team into using an off healer or a support they were uncomfortable with. Overall, a competent Ying who knows where to place her illusions will not let your team down. In many ways, she can do better than champions like Ceres, not for her healing potential, but the fact that you don't have to be so undefended and can position yourself in a more discreet manner, attracting less attention from flanks and damages. I myself die a lot less when playing Ying than Ceres or Damber in competitive, purely due to the fact you aren't flanked as much and no one focuses you too much. Besides that, remember to consider which loadout and talent to use and what map it is before picking Ying. Keep in mind that picking a champion you feel comfortable with is more important than playing a champion that is meta, that you have zero experience with. This won't get you wins. Don't listen to your teammates if they're making you play something you don't want to or don't feel comfortable with, and play something you think you're better at. Either way, guys, I'd like to say a massive thank you for watching today's video. I really hope it did help you out with some Ying tips. Again, please leave comments if you'd like to see anything else or the guide helped you. We're going to be releasing some new guides next. We've got some good ones in mind, and my friend Xemor is going to be helping record the next one. Either way, guys, see you soon. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you. Good luck with Ying.